I'm Enoch, this is XDA Developer TV, and you don't know it, but there is no such thing as a second-party app, and therein lies my doubts about Simple Edition. Last week, Gizmodo posted an article in response to an article on XDA about the Nexus 4 getting root. And they asked why, with the Nexus 4 on sale, if you have an AOSP phone, would you want root? And since you could really only ask that question if you don't know what root is, I'm going to treat Gizmodo like they don't know what root is. So the word of the day is control. Root is having the ability to write to the root of the system partition. It's having control of that partition. And it doesn't matter if you have an AOSP or OEM version of Android, if your phone isn't rooted, you don't have that control. Sure, most people root to get rid of pre-installed apps, which you do because you can write to those folders, but there are tons of apps out there that you can only use if you have root access. And the reason you need root for them is because they use something on your phone that either didn't have that functionality written into it or it was disabled. It's actually apps like those that end up getting copied by Google in future versions of Android. They are the true bleeding edge of Android. For example, you used to need root to tether. Now that's built into Android. You used to need a root app to take screenshots, and that's built into Android. Its legitimacy and Linux aside, it used to be that you needed a root task killer if you wanted to drop an app from Android's memory. Now it's built in. And there are security features and functions that root access allowed that the device administrator API rendered obsolete. There are tons of examples just like those. So if you want the features of the future versions of Android, look into root apps. And there are also plenty of things that were intentionally disabled that are pretty damn handy. For example, though it's not strictly legal on a router you don't own, if you want to packet sniff, like you can with Droid Sheep, or you want to knock everyone off the router like you can with Wi-Fi kill, or if you want to, let's call it stress test the network, like you can with Anti, you'll need root. If you want to back up app data because you're tired of losing your scores in Angry Birds after a factory reset, you need a root app like Titanium Backup. If you want to completely re-theme Android, you need a root app like Metamorph. If you want to change your boot animation or block ads, you need root. If you have a custom ROM or kernel or recovery, apps that control them need root. But here's a really practical use, and I learned this from Adam and Jordan's seminar at the Big Android Barbecue, which I really think they need to do a video about. When OEMs block root access, the only way to get by is by exploiting vulnerabilities. Now, if that vulnerability is maliciously exploited, if the exploit is benign, as they are on XDA, the developer plugs the hole with a patch or with an app that controls what does and does not get root access. Like super user, or super user, or simple super user. You would have to manually give permission to the malicious app so that it can write to system. So if for no other reason, root your phone and install Super User for better security. Now, if you want to see if your device is vulnerable, a good place to start is by checking out www.xray.io. And that's about it. Or maybe not. If anybody else has any other reason to root, tell us about it in the comments. So, again, I'm Enoch, and this is XDA Developer TV.